Like, he's not ready to retire. He did say that as well. But, you know, his work on the T-37 and some of those light tanks is really doing a lot of good work for Penta.
Tog, man.
Yeah.
That's on the Tog, mate.
I'm not going to forget that.
That's what it's all at.
Even
he's preparing for World of Warships, and I'm 100% guaranteed.
I saw Snip in chat saying I'd never thought I'd ever see a Tog win an esports game.
Nor did I, man.
The only time I've ever seen a Tog win an esport game, an esport match, was Season 4 when both teams had Togs on Himmelsdorf and they were just trolling.
But it does prove that mantra in World of Tanks where there's two type of tanks that work. One that is really good in a specific situation, and one that's good in every situation. Obviously, the Tog's great in specific situations because it's massive.
Yep.
You can block shots. You can basically cut parts of the map off to the other team. Where you take like a tank like a T-54 lightweight, like you can be good in every situation. So I think, you know, just for everyone out there, if you're looking for a tank to play, definitely, you know, choose that one and play to its strength.
That's right. You do need to understand about the Tog and how it works as well. There's no point trying to get it halfway across the map, and the round will pretty much be done there. So it's not a fast tank, but it definitely does have its applications. Has as much health as an AMX 5100 at tier 6, so pretty darn good here. But we're going to jump into this one here after a little reset. Game is on here. Penta Sports in the lead. Exactly.
Penta just getting a good round here on the attack. You know, I think a lot of people say, okay, including me, for basically all the time of the season, apart from the pre-playoffs, that like you should be getting the 2 defensive rounds. 68, 70% of the time we see the defensive side win on Ruhenberg. But it just hasn't been the case in this pre-playoffs. It does look like Penta again going aggressive and FKK Schnitzel again being caught out early on. Let's see if he can actually connect the shells today.
He's got to try and stay safe at the very least here, as FKK Schnitzel does eventually avoid the focus of most of these tanks here, but they've got bigger fish to fry right now. You can see the dead zone of Fluky moving off, a lot of shots being traded, but not a lot of damage really being dealt except to Raging Potato, who will go down. That being said, the other Penta tanks are looking fairly healthy, and they've pushed up, and they're going to start to make this cap on the north side now. The FKK Schnitzel has to be careful. He can be such an important role right now, getting shots towards the back, but if he goes down like that, there's only so much support he can really lend to his team. 20 seconds on the cap, it's still ticking down, and the fight in those northern houses is underway. Ruster and Alien still have a bit of a jog to make it down towards his capture site, but this time things seem to be going a lot better for Isne and Vetso.
Yeah, Yizni's on the left of those houses, Vetso's on the right of those houses. I've got a lisp or something. And yeah, it's just going better for Kazna crew. They also had FKK Schnitzel do fantastic damage in that Bulldog. He didn't go down until a very late stage, thanks to just some inaccuracy from that T-54 lightweight. And, you know, again, Kazna crew are far ahead. They got Hybrid in the background, just constantly being able to reset. And this is a completely different start for them, and it looks unwinnable for Penta Sports, but I've seen more epic comebacks from that team.
This is what good execution will do for you. Same lineup, same rollout for both teams, and yet Kazna crew now starting to make some of that mud stick. You multi-show a message, the last 2 left, and they're going to be decimated here. This is actually going to be one of the biggest winning margins that Kazna crew have had throughout this series, and for good reason. They brought all the elements together, not just strategy, but also the players hitting the shots where they count. And Multishow just has to really await his fate now behind this building. He knows it's over. Trying to buy his team a little bit more time, but that was a very quick round in contrast to the others. Just over 2 minutes, and Kazna crew even it up at 2-2.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is exactly what we wanted. We said at the beginning, both of us, that a 2-2 was very likely from these two. A back and forwards game, and I think that's really good news for Penta Sports because it looks like they're on form. They're playing well. It's not like Kazna crew won 2 defensive rounds and Penta won 2 defensive rounds. You got some confirmation that Penta's got some volition, some firepower right now because they won their attacking round. You know, they have the ability to make the quick moves, to win those individual duels, and I think that's really good news for them. Looking at the damage, New Multi Show 1.9k, Yizny doing 2.1k. You can see
much better.
Much better. That's the difference between these things. I mean, damage does tell basically everything about the game in World Tanks. It's all about damage, and when you have Yizny doing basically nothing in the previous round and doing everything, you've got a completely more one-sided affair for Kazna crew. And yeah, basically not losing a single tank, of course, apart from FKK Schnitzel, who did good work taking a couple of tanks down to a low enough one-shot HP.
Yeah, 853 damage on him was definitely a nuisance, and you know, he demanded the attention from those tanks pushing those northern buildings. That's the main thing. And it gave Isne and Vetso time to set up for that, to make their shots, and to sort of get the advantage in that one-to-one. So much different. But as I said, let this be a lesson to everyone at home wondering about team battles and how things works. The strategy for both teams is pretty much identical. Pretty much identical. but it's the way that it worked out. Some RNG, to be honest, but it's also the way that Kazna just sat back and you know, controlled the situation, were ready for it, and they made the executions, they made the shots here. I mean, a lot of them with some very good damage. Even Ruster with only 2 shots, but he only had to make those 2, you know, penetrating hits at the distance he was at. He was a contingency measure. He was kept in that middle just in case we're going to see some rotations by Penta. So that was his role there. That's fair enough. But definitely, like, the guys in the thick of it, Vetso and Isne did a great job, and that's all Kazna needed him to do. Yeah,
that's all she wrote, basically. I do get the whole point of having Ruster in the middle, but I think Hyber being just down into that city side, it gives Kazna enough time to rotate something faster up in towards that second cap. But yeah, I mean, all even. Moving on to Mines, we saw Penta against Synergy on Mines today, and it looks like a very dominant feature from Penta, winning both rounds. Yesterday we saw a very, very dominant display of World of Tanks from Kazna crew. Penta Sports got kind of crushed on this one by Virtus Pro. So I don't know, I think this one, I think Penta, their kind of quick play they're using right now is definitely more indicative of better results on Mines than it would be on Ruinberg. So I think they have that chance, they have that light at the end of the tunnel. They just need to take it and you know, just try and make it work. Yeah, we just need to see them sort of exceed from here and just sort of, you know, go big and go big or go home, basically, here, Melly. It's do or die right now for both of these two teams. Only one, or potentially only one map left.
Absolutely. I mean, the community is still rooting for Kazna crew with a solid 76%. So maybe we'll see some magic happening on the next map. People, get your last votes in. We'll be heading into a short break and hopefully be back in roughly 5 minutes for a second map between Penta Sports and Kazna crew. What's going on here?
What's going on? Twitch. Is it on our end? Twitch is dying.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the WGL EU pre-playoff day number 2. Just a quick break to sort out some technical issues, of course, while we get underway with our next game. Of course, Twitch Amsterdam server having some ingest issues, but we are back and ready to roll out with, of course, the map of Mines here. So both these teams, honestly, after 2-2, Kazna can't be feeling as confident as I'm surely they were coming into this one.
Yeah, and considering how random sometimes Mines plays out, I mean, this could go either way. Seriously, if Penta just go into this one, hell for leather, just put everything on the line, balls to the wall, they could actually pick this one up. They could at least take this one to a tiebreaker. I've got a good feeling that they are on that kind of form. They don't seem to have any of those previous issues they had in the season, in the online stage and the group stages. So I think they have a good chance. The question is, will Eurofish be an absolute beast in the artillery? If you haven't checked out his shots from yesterday, you've got to check him out. Like, especially on Virtus Pros and Kazna Crew's YouTube channels. Him hitting that blind shot against Kusok is my single most treasured possession right now, because it's those things. As any artillery players know, and I was an artillery player, it's those kind of shot that actually define you as someone who's really good, like someone who's got great awareness of where you have to shoot, when you have to shoot, what the other team's doing. And it's a bit of luck in there, but as I said, you make your own luck.
Absolutely. The possibilities on this map are myriad, actually. A lot more than what we might see on Ruenberg. There are maybe a limited scope of possible approaches, but on Mines, things can change at a moment. Game state as well can change at a moment, and teams have to work around this and adapt to those changes, and that's exactly what makes this so exciting. That's exactly why it's such a pleasure to see these top teams on this one as well. Yesterday, we saw some great Mines games, really. Virtus Pro and Kazna on that one as well. And Kazna especially going up against Synergy as well. Yep. Some beautiful stuff here. We expect to see much the same. Right about now, it's time to check in with Mines.
Mines, a small summertime map with lots of hills, rocks and other cover. The teams start the battle in the usual locations. But the base locations are different. One is located in the bottom part of the village, and the other one is in the water. The key directions here are the hill and the island. That's why the teams will often select fast vehicles and tanks with strong turrets.
Here we go now. Penta versus Kazna Crew, 2-2 as we head into Mines. Penta on the attacking side.
Yeah, so this is the next 3 rounds that could define who actually goes to the finals. That's for Penta Sports, that's for Kazna Crew. Whoever managed to win it will be the true deserved 4th place takers of the finals. At the moment, you can see Kazna Crew have that defensive side hill. They've got it immediately. A bit of damage just going on to Hyber, but it bounces it. They are going all in.
Straight for message here as well. Kazna now bringing some of their own brand of punishment here. But before he can take down message, Hyber does drop down, but Reggie Potato now is the focus. Vetso just hulling over the top, getting a shot down towards that IS-3. Ruster is close. Ilian is even closer than that with his damage. And there we go. Reggie Potato will drop down now. Ruster is in the thick of it here. But Kazna, they're not stopping. They're just going to jockey back a little bit here and wait for Haki to provide his hull for shooting here. At the moment, the 2 M44s have no shortage of targets to fire on here. But let's see what they find. LD Nexus takes a big hit from Killer Pit. That's really important right now. Eurofish is looking for a target as well, but Kazna Crew haven't exactly fought this in the best spot. And is there an Alien now going to get pushed onto by 3? Vetso has to roll off the hill. He'll get slowed down by the hull at the bottom of that hill, but he'll get there just in time. Hopefully he'll get a finish on towards Haki. No, he shoots Fluky here. They're just taking the shots as they come. And Kazna Crew, it's going to be close here, but they don't have the numbers right now. Vetso gets blown up in the dead zone, and Fluky going to be looking for Easney.
Kellerpit just absolutely carrying Penta Sports in this round. He played such a great round in that artillery, hitting the shots he needed to hit and actually just doing fantastic damage, hitting both T-54 lightweights, not going for the artillery, not going for the IS-3, which is the easier target. Fantastic work by him, and Eurofish just didn't have a chance to get in this game, didn't manage to make anything work for him, and that super aggressive start by Kazna Crew went very well at the beginning. You saw the rotation of the T-54s, which heading towards that eastern side, and yeah, I mean, simply Haki, Killer Pit actually just annihilating Kazna Crew right now, and definitely deserved this win. And Kazna were ahead at some point in time, but at the end of the day, Penta just managed to regroup, get themselves sorted, get Kazna Crew into an awkward position where Eurofish couldn't shoot, but Killer Pit could.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think that's the main thing here as well, just the damage being done by Killer Pit. I think you got a couple good shots in there, importantly enough. I don't know. Did Eurofish really manage to do much damage here?
No, he did no damage this round. He did 42 damage, which was when the tank ran him at the end. So yeah, like Kazna Crew went for that super aggressive start. I think they predicted that Penta would go aggressive towards that right side. Guessed correctly. They went all in, went great at the start, then they had to retract back a little bit, and then they were just sitting in this perfect bullseye position, which Killerpit could just nail 1,500 damage. If Killerpit hadn't hit those 2 shells, it would have been a lot more even game. Penta could have still won it, don't get me wrong, but I think it would have been a lot more even because you had Yizny still in full HP in the IS-3, still making a lot of work for him, still doing a lot of work. Still having plenty of HP just to play around with if he wanted to. So, I mean, yeah, that was a super close game. Kazna Crew just going all in. I didn't ever expect to see that from them.
Oh, I mean, you look here as well. This is where the fight happened. And look at it straight away. Where can Eurofish fire to damage an opposition player? Nowhere. Really, there's not much you can really do from this position. It kind of sucks. And whereas Eurofish can have a field day, this is exactly where he wants Kazna Crew to be. You see just about now, I think a shot goes towards Nexus. I think it's a Nexus that gets hit by a shot from Eurofish. Yeah. And he gets a 700 damage taken off him as well. That doesn't help. And honestly, in a fight that was that close, there's a shot there. That's all. That makes all the difference.
That's a big thing. I mean, Nexus wouldn't have died then. And that's a 3 versus 3 situation. Like, seriously, if Killerpit didn't hit those shells, it would have been Kazna Crew's game because you had a 4-on-4. Kazna Crew had more HP just by a little bit. They had the better reloads, but you know, Killerpit just being in that place, making the shots, doing the damage, 1,500. That's a tier 8 tank out of the equation, and Eurofish just being completely locked out of this game in a position where he couldn't simply shoot anything behind that kind of cliff face on the center of mines.
Yeah, frustrating for him as well, telling his team, guys, there's not much I can do when you're here. But Kazna Crew maybe overextending there, going a bit too aggressive, maybe forgetting that they obviously had that artillery there that needed to do some damage. But of course, many now as we are into the second map, the votes have closed, so
almost
closed. Well,
exactly. Almost closed, but closing every yeah, about any second, because we're about to head into the second map on the stream, and it's 75% for Kazna Crew. So Kazna Crew fans still having their hopes high for the Kaznas to make it.
Fair enough. I mean, it's going to be close. This is the closest we've seen these guys go in quite some time. It's been a while. It scares me,
to be honest.
I mean, I don't know, Penta can turn up. This is good. I mean, I've probably been one of the harshest critics all season. I can wear that as well. I said, like, this is, you know, after seeing what Penta have been capable of in the season before and the last sort of, you know, the last lead up to the last finals as well. They were there in Sofia as well. It was a disappointing performance from them as well, but they definitely showed some capability. Yeah.
They've already done better than last season. They got 5th place in the bag right now. Yeah. So they're already 1 spot ahead. So technically they're better. They're not going to the finals, which is, of course, a big point, but still, 5th place is not bad. But still, they're 1-0 ahead right now against Kazna Crew. It looks to me like, you know, Penta, they've got a pretty significantly different lineup than last season, and at the playoffs when there's a lot more pressure on them, that pressure has just glued them. It's cemented them into a much more progressive team, a much more cohesive team. So, you know, even if they don't make it all the way, I've got big hopes for them next season. I think they're going to be fantastic. They already are.
Let's have a look here now. As Kazna Crew go out towards the island, they do value this part of the map especially. But with 4 lightweights out there, that's a big investment. You can see most of Penta Sports now, in lieu of this, putting a lot of their tanks over towards the middle of the map, and that's a big shot there. Eurofish now making up for lost time as he does get a big hit on towards the dead zone, and also some damage on towards Hacky from an IS-3, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
I don't think Eurofish will be allowing Killerpit to take all the fame and glory of the best artillery player in Europe, obviously behind me. Laughter, but it's just a simple fact of hitting the shells, and he's making it work for him. You can see Ilya is very much aware of the damage Killerpit can do, though, making a couple of blind shots towards the standard locations for that M44 in mines from the north on the attack. But good start for Kazna. They got the early damage yesterday. I mean, once they got enough early damage, they simply just pushed the hill, bullied the team off the hill, and then, you know, once you've done that, it's just simply game over.
Penta are going with a very light lineup, very similar to Kazna, in fact, identical. So just the 1 IS-3 between them and a lot of T54 lightweights, 2 of which have already had a big bite taken out of them for Penta. And that does give Kazna a handy little lead now going into the next sort of main engagement. You can see spreading out quite a lot here. really just denying that western side of the map from Penta and forcing them to go towards the east as well. Kazna don't have a lot of defensive structure here on that side of the map, so you can see now these 5 lightweights moving in could be quite deadly if they can get into position quickly enough, or if Kazna are too slow to respond, which is always a possibility. Vetso is going to be the closest, the lightweight is there. Ruster and Nexus are going to be in position, so there will be an overmatch for these lightweights. It's going to depend on what else can be done by Isne as well to assist. His shot is not going to connect here, and there's some damage towards New Multishow now. This is about to get quite hairy now. They might be looking for that M44. Yes, New Multishow checking the corner. He won't find Eurofish there. Eurofish is backed away already, prematurely even, because he wasn't able to do much over to the east side from where he is. But still, he's safe for now, and those lightweights of Penta just have to take 5.
The interesting thing is that there's no tank in G5, G6. That's a typical location for a tank to be in. So you can basically proxy spot any tank that's on the hill, most like the T-54s or the IS-3s. That's super interesting. Now, Hyber's going roaming, looking for anything. He probably is going to be looking for Killipit. It's not spotted. But this is really slow. Normally from that eastern side push, you see them pushing in, finding a tank, engaging onto it, and then it goes either to the defending team or the attacking team. This time, it's basically like we got a split down the middle. We got the attacking team on the right side, the defending team on the left side, and some shots going backwards and forwards between the 2 artillery pieces of Eurofish and Clicker-Pit. So, I mean, it's just going to be interesting. I think I do slightly prefer Cancer Crew's lineup and their setup right now and the positions, but still, the dead zone is making it a little bit awkward, and he is going to force Cancer Crew's hand at some point in the near future.
He and Haki obviously bearing the brunt of the initial damage being put out. Ruster went quite low in that little fight in the south, and you can see Killer-Pit and Eurofish have been trading blows a little bit with those M44s, just trying to make something stick here. Penta, by and large, are worse for wear than Kazna Crew are. But the capture is underway, and this is going to force a response to them soon. But in the north, I don't know if that was Hyber or not, but there is a lightweight that is going to find Killer-Pit, and then he's going to be able to go from there. Oh, did he find him? I'm not quite sure. Shots coming out, though, and you can see that the lightweights of Kazna Crew are just starting to creep in a little bit closer now on towards that hill in the north, though. Killer-Pit is going to stay safe for now. He actually managed to avoid detection here, and some shots are going in. Messi takes a hit there for the most part. Fairly even trades here, back and forth.
Yeah, the interesting thing will be, Eurofish gets countered by Killer-Pit. That's basically just a spit in the face to him. Unbelievable stuff from Killer-Pit. Just say, Eurofish, I saw what you did against Kusok and Virtus Pro yesterday, and I say, screw you, I'm the better clicker here.
Oh, well, Clickerfish is not half wrong then. I know it's a bit of a mishap, but it worked out for you now. Russell picks up Haki, Fluky on towards Hyber now, and Ian's going to come in from behind. No one's found Killer-Pit. Kyber was up at A4 and still didn't find that artillery, and now Vetso has to deal with these 254 lightweights, but Alien is close by. Fluky now is going to bear the brunt of this assault, and the capture continues to get reset. The initial advantage that Kazna Crew managed to find is going to help out a lot here now. They do pick up both tanks are on the cap. The multi-show message, Raisin Potato. They're the last lightweights left. They're going to look for Rusty here. Next is going to back away. They're going to give them that one, but still, they could do some damage. Raisin Potato takes a shot from over on the east somewhere, and it's good damage consistently coming towards Penta.
Again, the problem is right now is that Kazna Crew doesn't have the hill. Also, that missing basically Killer-Pit is going to be a huge factor. If Killer-Pit can hit a shell here on the low HP tank of Kazna Crew, it could still be Killer-Pit's Penta Sports' game, especially if he finds Alien or Vetso. A lot of these artillery pieces, they like to pick up binocular telescopes so they can get that 25% view range, which gives them an advantage over a pushing lightweight.
All right, Raging Potato now getting chunked quite low. Vetso is there, and Kazna Crew can just set back and let the firing squad go to work. New Mulder Show 2-shot here as well. Killer-Pit off in the background. I mean, Penta, unfortunately, they can't just sort of hide away from this one. They have to make a decisive move. Nexus does get clipped there by New Multi-Show, and he actually is able to avoid some damage. So these 2 lightweights from Penta are holding on, but there's 2,430 health points they need to get through. It's a big ask. It's an impossible ask, in fact. And Kazna Crew now will be able to equalize as New Multi-Show will go down, and Killer-Pit, well, they'll be on the hunt for him.
I just love this so much. These games are so epic. This pre-playoff has just really lived up to expectation. Killer-Pit has hit 2 shells. Good work by him. Very low damage from them, from that artillery piece. 500 shells. Obviously, the M44's average is 700. So you can expect it to do that. Although, sometimes you do hit like almost 900 damage. It's truly insane when you manage to land that one. But still, good work from him. I think he did his job, especially considering he hits, I guess it's because he hit Eurofish. I'm an idiot. You know, you obviously can hit Eurofish, you can do less damage. So he did a 700 damage shot and he did a 240 damage shot. So it will be Kazna Crew anyway. I digress to pick up that round and make it all even again. It's just backward and forwards between these two teams. The winners bracket finals and the losers bracket finals are just equally as good.
Absolutely. Kazna Crew making their fans sweat a little bit here. And I mean, going 3-3 now, it's good, but it's still going to be very, very close. Still 2 more rounds left on this map as well. 2 to decide whether we're going to have a clear winner or if we're going to go to a tiebreaker here.
Yeah, no, this is, I mean, we've got now Kazna Crew go on the attacking side. They're going to be going forwards and trying to make things work. As I said yesterday, Kazna Crew looked better on the attacking side. They were very fast. They love to play towards that western island, but I guess the interesting thing would be that Kazna Crew, when they played against Synergy, they played that western island every single time on the attack. When they played against Virtus Pro, they played that western island every single time. So if Penta last night have been sitting down with their paper and pen and paper, like normal people would say it, they would be just thinking, how can we counter this out? How can we, make this tactic redundant? And if Kazna Crew don't have anything else in their playbook, I think this could easily be Penta's.
This was their push on towards Penta. You can still see that Killer Pit is alive, but unfortunately this is where it gets a bit tough here. Hyper does go down, but this is where Ilian and Vetso get a bit of a sandwich onto these tanks here in the middle. Messig is trying to assist as well, but there's just too many tanks there for Kazna. It was the early damage, I think, that worked out really well for them. As you said, we had some interesting sort of strange stalemate there as Penta pushed through on the eastern side and didn't sort of follow through with that across to the west. They went sort of went from north to south on the east side, and this is the push that they could have done earlier on. They find Rusty here, but by then, I mean, they're already in a fair deficit here. There's an extra gun in the game for Kazna in terms of the IS of Isne, who was up in a very important position. I mean, still, it was close. It definitely wasn't a blowout by any stretch of the imagination.
So close,
I don't even understand how Killer Pit was alive. Hyper went looking for him at A4. Killer Pit was on like A5, and he didn't spot him.
Yeah, that's a very good play by Killer Pit, just having good instincts. Obviously, when you know where the other team will be going to look for you if they're going to go for artillery. So you sit at a position where you're not there, first of all, and also you're 50 meters away from there. So Hyper went to the top of that plateau, see if he could spot where Killer Pit was, went to the edge of that plateau, couldn't spot him anyway because Killer Pit's slightly further away than you would expect him to be. So that's just good stuff from Killer. I think as well, if Killer Pit had one more shell and he had landed into the back of Ilian, that could have also opened up the game more so for a Raging Potato, a new multi-show, and Messig, who was sitting up on the hill in the IS3. I'm pretty surprised that Penta didn't actually win that round. They were very close to being able to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And they do have more opportunities to do that now, but things switch over and Kazna moving on to the attacking side here, starting from the north. And we said, like, what are our thoughts about attacking Kazna? We said that because the hill is more available to them, they generally start off their games a bit better. They get that sort of pole position, as it were.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the western side has really been where Kazna Crew has put most of their resources. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they do go for the hill in this round. In the next couple of rounds, maybe. But it's always that thing when you're risking a hill push. Penta's very good at taking that hill from, doesn't matter if it's attack or defense. So if you have a Penta Sports, like in the previous match days, in the early match days, match day 1 to 5, let's say, they loved mines. They were pushing the hill from the defense. They were pushing the hill from the attack. More surprisingly, the defense, of course. And they were getting good brawls on the hill with the T54 Lowits. And they didn't get the results, but they perfected that art to the point where if another team decides to go for it as well, they could lose that firefight very easily. So I think it's a gambling game for Kazna Crew. I think it's a gambling game for Penta Sports as well. Do they go for the more slow kind of way of approaching this map? Or do they just, go what they've been doing every single round so far? All in, try and catch Kazna Crew by surprise, and then get those individual brawls, which they seem to be winning.
Well, I mean, it definitely was an interesting result. On our first Mines round, they had that brawl, which was won out by Penta purely because of Killer Pit was there. As you said, Eurofish wasn't really able to contribute, but Penta are showing us that they've got the teeth for these fights, these head-to-heads, these sort of super aggressive engagements. They're happy to take those here. And in that last game as well, I mean, new multi-shot Killer Pit there. I mean, Killer Pit was one of the top damage, as you said, for Penta now. So looking for him to continue on. Sometimes we see as the sides change over, sometimes it's the defending team don't always go for the artillery. Sometimes they offer something else to give them a bit more flexibility here. Having a look at the picks here, it does look like we're still going to see those 2 artillery players on the field. We're still going to see that approach being made here. So Good stuff from both teams. We're actually going to see Isne on the T32. We know we'd like to use him, and that kind of tells us that at least he is going to be on that hill.
Yeah, exactly. So to me right now, I'm thinking Kazna Crew sticking to their guns. They're going to do exactly what they did yesterday. Have Isne playing that kind of turret roll on the hill with the T32, able to stave off the IS-3s and the T-54s, while the rest of Kazna Crew set up on that western side, or just go super aggressive on that western side, get themselves down to the south so they can do the damage onto the hill. But again, those T-54s will be there at exactly the same time as the T-54s from Penta will be on the hill. So you have a situation where the timing could be wrong for Kazna, and Penta could lose their T-32 for nothing.
Yeah, it could get pretty messy as well. And they don't want to lose Isne. Often, as a T-32, you are a beacon for the opposition team. They want to get rid of you first because they know that your strength comes from that sustained damage and the ability to sort of deal with incoming fire, especially if you've got the hull down position here. So we are seconds, ladies and gentlemen, away from the next round here, of course, on mines. This time we'll be seeing Kazna Crew on the attacking side. They'll be starting from the north and Penta from the south here. Still seeing those artillery being brought out. Still seeing those majority lightweight lineups. In fact, both teams only taking one heavy tank apiece here. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out, how they play around that as well. But I feel some aggressiveness coming on. Some dogfights will be great with those.
Well, I don't because we got a restart. So next,
we do. We have a restart.
That's the third restart this match day. This match. So. I mean, obviously, you know, some issues there, so hopefully we can get them resolved and get into this game as soon as possible.
Oh, let's open up the desk for a little bit of a chat then, of course, Melly, down the end here.
The chat loved Click-a-Pit.
Click-a-Pit? I don't know if that was on purpose, was it?
What?
Did you call Kill-a-Pit Click-a-Pit by accident?
Yeah.
Was it,
clickers.
Yeah?
Clickers, what people who are noobs call artillery in World of Tanks, because you just have to click to kill people.
Clickers.
So it's just like the left mouse button kind of thing.
Click-a-pit.
I see, but Chad loved it. Chad loved it, and Chad was really happy after Kazna Crew took the last round, and it seems pretty balanced. A lot of Penta fans, a lot of Kazna Crew fans. It seems like Penta is building up that fan base over the past few months. It's grown bigger and bigger, and the vote has ended, of course, and it ended with 75% for Kazna Crew still. And yes, I mean, the vote is over, people, but you can get involved by using the hashtag WGLEU. And also, I saw a picture of Steven wearing a Kazna Crew shirt with a Penta jacket over.
Really?
That's exactly how I feel.
Is he wearing that now?
Yeah, exactly. He just posted a picture of how he watches the game. People send me a picture of how you guys at home enjoy the game by using the hashtag WGLEU. A lot of involvement today, as per usual. Thank you very much for it. And Dave,
Tomlin.
the one from before exactly said, if Penta finishes 2-2 the first map, if Penta finishes the first map 2-2, they will have a good time on mines.
Well, actually, I think back at the start, Dave said, I think it was Dave, he said Penta could take both of these games. He said at the start of the Synergy game, he said, if this is anything to go by, they could do it. And honestly, he's not wrong so far.
He's not wrong at all. Dave is on the money right now, I think.
On the ball, boys. All right, that's what we like to see. Do get your predictions in as well. You can do it by chat, of course. The voting has closed, so your opportunity to win those codes is now no longer a possibility, but we still like to hear what your thoughts are. We're getting some good stuff in from people, some of our regulars as well, continuing to post to us. So thank you guys. Even if we don't put it up on stream, it is noticed and it is appreciated. But it's time to jump into mines now, and let's see if Kazna Crew can take it to match point, or will it be Penta Sports to take it to match point?
Yeah, so this is probably the most crucial match of these guys last season. You know, since June 17th, these guys have been playing backwards and forwards. So it's really important, May 17th, sorry. So it's really important they actually get themselves sorted. They go into this mine with this map with a completely clear mindset. Don't really worry about what happens. You know, just make sure you can play from any kind of situation, if that's in front, if that's behind, if that's anywhere. And you can see Penta really knows what Kazna Crew wants to do, and they're trying to counter it.
That's true. They did have those tanks over on the island, but there are 4 lightweights here to do some damage over towards them. Let's see what happens here, because they do have the overmatch theoretically, but still, there are tanks in the distance for Penta that can assist in this regard, and it's very back and forth stuff. In and out is trying to hide behind Nexus. Good trading of damage. I think there was even a shot in from Kill-a-Pit there over towards Nexus. I'm not sure if it connected or not here, but it is back and forth. Both sides have lost 1 tank each, and Nexus has to back away. This could get ugly here. If Kazna lose Nexus here, they've lost that trade. There you go. So 2 tanks able to take, well, 3 tanks able to take 2 away from the guys bringing 4 over towards the island. And Fatso takes a huge hit from Killepit, sorry. That's the stuff that wins games. Seriously. Vetso out of this one. Russell now having to deal with 3 lightweight tanks. This is falling apart for Kazna crew.
Yeah, Killepit is just unbelievable right now. He's playing out of his mind in the artillery, hitting the shots, and Penta Sports know exactly what Kazna crew wants to do. They got their number, they got their card, and they're just playing perfectly. They're playing down the line, and Eurofish hasn't performed this round. He hasn't done what was necessary, and the artillery has given Penta Sports the advantage. They needed to win that overmatch. There was 3 versus 4, and they came away with 3 tanks alive.
I don't believe it. This is absolutely ridiculous. Penta have just outplayed Kazna to the nth degree. It's just Isla and Eurofish left now. They've lost everything, all of their tanks. They've been decimated right now, and even, you know, Eurofish can't make ends meet towards just trying to help out Isla in this sort of situation now. Here, oh, a shot towards him from Killepit. He knows exactly where Eurofish is. Eurofish is on the move here, just going to make a small recalculation, repositioning here. Going to see if he can make a shot. His last hurrah in this particular round. And Penta, they've taken it to match point.
They have done it, unbelievably so. I mean, this is the team that lost 5-1 to Kazna crew at the beginning of the season in match day 4. So they're playing unbelievably right now. This team has gelled together in the most important moment of their careers, and it's working perfectly for them. This is, you know, Kazna crew we're talking about. Yep. And, you know, they're losing the trades. Penta Sports is making the plays, and Kazna crew are just playing really obvious stuff. Like, those 3 T54 lightweights in the positions they are in, they're hull down, they're behind rocks, they're behind bushes, and Kazna just aren't aggressive enough. Like, they should have gone forwards, because Hyber, Eurofish, and Yizny, they can control those T54s and the IS3s in the middle. But what they needed to, these T54s here, is deal with Raging Potato and deal with Fluky.
Well, I mean, as much as I love Kazna crew, they're looking a bit more like Kazna poo right now.
Wow.
On mines. It's just not working out for them. And look, you see Vetso, they're getting completely chunked down as well. So we saw it was a 3v4 scenario in favour of Kazna crew on that Western Island. They had the advantage. But before 2 tanks from Penta had dropped down, they'd taken 2 tanks away from Kazna. So that's efficient trading. And then on top of that, Vetso gets the shot in from the artillery. Yeah. So this is really, like, they just had the advantage in that head-to-head.
I wouldn't even say the artillery won it for them there. No. I'd say, you know, 693 damage is nice, but I just think Kazna should have been more aggressive in that position. Like, going forwards, you had Vetso doing 700 damage, Nexus doing 700 damage, Elian doing almost 800 damage, and Ruster doing 900 damage. And the only one who really did perform there was Hyber, who wasn't even in that situation. He was on that left Lighthouse Island. He did 1.3k. So I don't think Kazna are aggressive enough. I think they let themselves get played a little bit too much by Penta, and you know, Killepit doing enough in that round, 1.3k, to give his team enough of a lead in a lot of those situations. So yeah, 2 shots from Killepit. Eurofish doing no damage this match day, basically only hitting a couple in the defensive rounds when Kazna crew are playing. So I think Killepit's scooting Eurofish right now.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, even, you know, getting the counter battery on him as well, just to add some insult to injury. So far, Killepit has been all over this as well. And we had such high expectations of what Eurofish would be able to do in his M44, but bear in mind as well that you can only do as much as your team allows you to do as well. Where your team chooses to make the fight is where you sort of have to work around. So there's only so much that can really be done about that kind of situation here. But we're going to be heading into our next one very, very soon. It's match point to Penta Sports. I can't believe it. They might actually qualify for the finals after, honestly, a middling and a mediocre season 1, of which, you know, as we said, we were quite critical of them. We said, look, this is not the Penta we're used to seeing. This is not the Penta that, you know, we expect, we've seen in past seasons. But now Kazna crew threatening to choke.
Kazna crew right here on losing this one. They are so close. They need to get this next round, otherwise we'll be Penta. And this is the Penta that lost 5-0 to Virtus Pro yesterday, 5-1 to Virtus Pro yesterday. Sorry, and Kazna crew went 4-5 against Virtus Pro. So theoretically, again, this should have been Kazna crew's round. This should have been Kazna crew's game easily. But they played so well against Synergy. They got themselves into such an unbeatable mindset. And this aggressive style, this saying to Kazna crew, we know what you want to do, and this tactic you've been training towards that west side of the island is breakable as long as Killepit hits the shells. I have to say as well, though, it is down to hitting the shells with the artillery. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss, and that's the difference between a win and loss.
Absolutely. Penta now moving up on towards his hill. So they haven't actually taken the main hill, just the primary one here as they move up behind the rocks, and this is different to what we normally see from them. Playing a little bit more into Eurofish's hands. As you can see, the shot from him narrowly misses the dead zone as he just skitters out of the way. Messick is going to chance to move up on towards the hill right now. He feels confident enough doing this one, takes one shot, but only the one. He's going to back away. There's two lightweights now going to go up in front of him. So Kazna crew playing this one fairly passively, to be honest. Really not really trying to put too much on the line for this hill push. Hyber actually getting a bit of damage in his direction here. I think it was Fluky and New Multi Show doing some work from the hill. Alien forced to just be very, very careful here. And Penta are taking their time with these shots.
So right now, Penta's basically playing to counter Eurofish. You can see the dead zone. He basically faked running off the hill. So he forces a shot from Eurofish, which allows his team in the IS-3 and the T-54s to push on the hill without risking that 700 damage roll. So that's really good play by Penta. I think that's an adaptation that was necessary for them to win this round. And if they want to win it, they just need to continue doing that. As you can see, Penta have got themselves all over towards that left light towers island, but Killer Pit just annihilates Hyber, and that's given them such a massive advantage. That's the artillery factor that worked so well for Kazna crew yesterday against Virtus.pro.
This is ridiculous. I don't believe it. Vetso now forced to sort of try and relocate a bit as well. Killer Pit's been on fire right now in this artillery, doing so much work. The new multi-show, though, does take a hit, and that was from Eurofish. So the artillery player from Kazna crew firing back now. Kazna crew do have the health advantage. It's a slim one, but it does mean that they're definitely not out of this one yet, and they're doing what they do best. They're moving over towards that island. They know they can go there right now. They have a good bit of information as they make their way across. Killer Pit's shot, I think, actually going to hit the top of that billboard and not able to connect now, as Ruster just going to scoot his way across and get in undercover.
Well, the billboard's not there for the players. It will just have hit a different part of the scenery, probably just the beach below. But yeah, I mean, Nexus behind this location, it could be risky because he is kind of stuck there for Killer Pit. He knows he needs to move. Killer Pit is off reload. He has a shot, and quite a few targets are lit for him right now. He needs to get himself into a safe location. You can see Eurofish is in this battle. He is making things work for him. But it's still a tank advantage for Penta Sports. They're still ahead. They've got more HP. They got a tank more in the game. And, you know, if they lose this one, they have really only themselves to blame. They only have themselves to say, oh, look, we were ahead. We had everything. We had every variable under control. And somehow Kazna crew came back to win it. And I just don't see that happening right now.
Alien actually at the bottom of the hill here. I don't know if he's tracked himself to get there or... No, yeah, he was just positioned there. So you can see now for the most part, yeah, he tracked himself on the way down. So Ruster now is going to be heading across. He's going to be the spearhead right now. He's going to be looking for a target. He's looking for Killer Pit, but Hacky is protecting him right now. The shot's going to come in. He wanted the counter battery so bad, but he didn't be able to connect that shot. And now Ruster has to be careful. He's in a bit of a safe alcove for the moment here, but Hacky might try and do something about that one. Killer Pit's also on the move as well, just to keep himself safe.
Yeah, Killer Pit's he's probably going to get killed by Eurofish any second now. Oh, but he is safe. He's not proxy spotted by Ruster, and Ruster is in an awkward position for Fluky and the T-54 right behind him. So Vetso, Alien, and Nexus all have to land those shells, and this is looking dire for Kazna crew. They're 1.5k HP behind, but Killer Pit's not in a position right now to be able to get the resets, and Eurofish has so much freedom to make the shots. He's hit one so far, 666, the number of the beast. Let's see if he can increase that.
Well, speaking of sixes, we are 66 seconds through or to go on this one now as Alien does continue to count that cap down. Killer Pit is in such a position that he is taking cover from shots, but it means he's actually limited in his ability to make them right now. So he has to stay safe. He's been cancelled out effectively by Ruster, who was able initially at least to get the proxy spot. You can see Ruster has him lit currently as well. So that negates him. It also means Hacky is visible to Kazna crew on the map as well, so they can work around this. They can play around these factors. But here comes a rescue squad. A couple of 54 lightweights are going to be pushing in towards Ruster. Kazna crew set up for this one. If they have a good crossfire, this could go wrong for Penta right now. But Ruster, yeah, there's the shots coming in. They're not all really connecting though, but they are some fairly low health lightweights. They come out of that one, but they're going to push on. They're going to look for Nexus right now. Penta, they're not going to stop on this one. They're going to keep going. Fluky now has to deal with Alien and Isne on towards that cap. Nexus as well on the other side of the island. Penta Sports have the numbers, they have the health, they have the tanks, they have everything they need to make it to our season finals.
They're just doing so well. Back and forth. Fluky does go down via Vetso, but I just don't see how. Isne's a one-shot. Alien's a one-shot. Message is taking a lot of damage on the side.
He's trying to move on towards the cap. He will go down without getting his shot off, but is it too little, too late? It might just be for Kazna right now. It's a 5v5 situation here. Those 5 tanks need to make those shots for Kazna crew if they want to make up this health deficit right now. Killer Pit is getting involved as well. He's making a few shots. Raging Potato does pick up Alien right now. That is going to really hurt Kazna crew. That's one less gun to work with. And Nexus is trying to deal with Hacky here at length. I think Hacky, no, it'll be the dead zone to get the finish. And Kazna crew, their hopes of a spot of the season finals are falling away in front of them.
3 versus 4 situation, 3 versus 5 situation, but 4 if you consider that Killer Pit's a combat tank, 2 if you consider that Eurofish isn't a combat tank. So this is so close right now for Kazna Crew. I mean, 800 to 1,100 is not a big difference, but I would say the positioning from Penta Sports and the tanks alive from Penta Sports give them such a big advantage.
This is important. This is really important, right? This fight here. If Vetso goes down, the dead zone will go after Eurofish and he can take him out. If Kazna, I mean, Kazna need him right now. Kazna need everything they have right now. The dead zone not going to take that hit. Kazna on the attacking side. Penta, look what New Multi Show's doing. He's in the back corner. This could be it. Killerpit makes a shot towards Vetso as well and finishes him off. The dead zone just holds him in position, keeps him in place right now. And this is all but done here for Kazna Crew. 710 points of health, but only 2 takes to work with. And the clock is working against them. Even Eurofish desperately trying to make the shots, but he will be the last man standing. Penta have done it. 14
shots and only 2 hits from Eurofish, just not good enough from him. But it's an artillery piece, and Hacky has just made his team go through this, to work through this. Eurofish, the last man alive in the dead zone, will find him. It will unbelievably Penta Sports to go to the Season 1 finals in 4th place, beating Kazna Crew in a 5-3 scoreline.
I still can't believe it. I really can't. Penta have had such a rocky season. It's been up and down. They weren't getting the games against the big teams. You would never have expected them to beat Synergy or Kazna during the regular season. Their performance just wasn't there. At one point, they were like 3-4 or something like that. They were down sort of around Ding's area, sort of where Strong Siema had fallen to. This was not a team that we expected to make the finals, but they've done it here at the most important time. I mean, Dave Tomley on Twitter said, I think Penta can do it considering the way things have been going. 5-0 against Synergy, 5-3 against Kazna Crew. They've just blown my socks off.
I just want to have a quick look through the damage which Killerpit has done this round. I mean, it's all been about Eurofish for the last couple of days, but today it's about Killerpit. 1.4k in the first round. That's just unbelievable already. He does 1,000 in the second round. They did lose that one, but he was the second highest damage dealer. In the third round, doesn't do anything there, but that was a restart, so that's to be expected, obviously. 1.4k in that fourth round, and the final 5th round, he did 1.5k. So that's either him second every single time in the damage board. Yes, okay, Fluky in that T54 lightweight did 2,000 there, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing about the artillery piece. Sometimes it works for you so well, sometimes it doesn't add up. Eurofish had a great day yesterday, but today it was all about Killerpit.
And the Fluky hype, by the way, might just be true. Obviously, with top damage in this game, all of Penta have just drawn themselves together so fantastically. But that's all she wrote. Let's have a look at the bracket and give you guys an idea of just who's made it through this absolute, well, it's a mess. It's a beautiful mess, but it's been a mess here. Virtus Pro obviously qualified yesterday, and Penta Sports went down 1-5 to Virtus Pro, then beat Synergy 5-0, and then beat Kazna Crew with only 3 rounds through Kazna Crew. I am absolutely shell-shocked, especially after Kazna Crew going so close against Virtus Pro. Could have qualified yesterday, but today they have made the choke.
Again, I mean, yesterday Kazna Crew had such good rounds with the artillery against Virtus Pro that's maybe why that scoreline was closer than it could have been. But again, today is about the RNG gods being in favor of, and just the ability of Killerpit in that artillery just to do more damage than anyone else, that gave Penta Sports that win. And that's the fantastic thing about Mines, It's such an open and dynamic and a quick map. And I guess another thing would be, there's a lot of material there for Penta Sports on Kazna Crew. They knew exactly how they wanted to play it. That first attacking round from Kazna Crew, they went to that west side. Penta Sports put 3 tanks in good positions there. Eurofish missing his shells, Killerpit not missing, and they managed to win that one out. So I think Kazna, maybe a bit of a mistake to pick Mines again.
I mean, the strategy being used by Penta there against Kazna was just perfect. They just knew exactly what they'd do. Kind of like the Synergy when they first started getting those results this season, except, well, ironically, they already took them down 5-0 today. Melly, I mean, as the smoke clears, Kazna Crew won't be at our season finals the first time.
It's so crazy.
But Penta, though, have definitely earned it.
Absolutely. I mean, you've seen that last match, haven't you? People, if you missed it, if you just tuned in, sorry, you missed a great match with Penta prevailing over Kazna Crew. Head over to YouTube in a couple days and rewatch the VODs. I can really tell you that was one hell of a match. And people, our second finalist is there. It's Penta Sports, and I want to say thank you for your participation. The vote ended, as already said, 75% in Kazna Crew's favor. The people at home were hoping, they were trying to engage Kazna through their positive votes or, well, shown their support, but it didn't work out. It sadly didn't work out. I'm a bit sad too, to be honest, but Penta is a great team and they very well deserve to be on the finals.
Absolutely. We do have our 4 finalists for our season finals coming up very soon. Of course, it's going to be Tornado Rocks will be there. Supreme is the top seed. Virtus Pro getting through yesterday. And now Penta Sports. It's going to be a fantastic day of games.
It's going to be amazing. I mean, it's been a truly epic weekend. I think Synergy have a lot to work on. I think Kazna Crew, a great team offline in the high-pressure situations. Online, They've fixed a lot of their mistakes, but I think they've still got a lot of work to do in the high-pressure situations in these online tournaments. So I'm really curious to see what Penta can do against Tornado Rocks, against Virtus Pro, against Team Supreme. So far, an unproven team with their current lineup. Yes, they were their 5th at Season 4 finals in 742, 6th in the Season 5 finals in 754. But so far, they've got a lot to prove, and they've made it halfway. Let's see if they can go the whole distance.
Absolutely, and for Kazna Crew as well, they got some rebuilding to do. They're going to go back to the drawing board. Their online play has always been something that made us nervous. It was like Kazna Crew have to play playoffs online against some top teams before they get to play the finals, and it was always going to be a hurdle for them. You need to be good in both formats. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us here today. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, our relegations for the WGL EU will be starting on the 7th of September. See, these are our teams that will be competing in that tournament to see who goes down and who stays up as well. It'll be interesting to see what new teams we're going to see graduating from the Silver Series and from our other tournaments. So, ladies and gentlemen, keep your eyes peeled for that. We're going to have a week's break, though. So, in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the battlefield.